third time he's gone over 30 pass attempts, and going over 30 pass attempts so far this year had not been a great sign for the 49ers. Coming into the Saints game, they were 0-2 in which games in which Garroppolo had to go over 30. He had 37 pass attempts against Kansas City in a 21-point loss, and he had 41 pass attempts to Atlanta against Atlanta in a 14-point loss. So today, 37 pass attempts, a lot of pass attempts to score 13 points. And it's historically not the 49ers recipe, but I don't know. Maybe they just felt like they just weren't going to be, maybe they came in with a lot of respect for the Saints run defense and did not feel like they were going to be able to run the ball on Sunday, because it did seem like it was part of their plan. It did not feel like it was a reaction to the game so much as it was part of their plan to throw the ball a lot.
Well, I think early on in the game, you could tell it was going to be hard to run the ball. So you spread them out a little bit. Like, to me, part of the problem was not, me, I'm cool with, I would spread the fucking teams out. I don't care who you're playing, because your advantage, when your fourth receiving option is number 15, like, you have advantages. 11 is really good. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is a high-end player right now.
I'd say he's better than the numbers every week at this point, right? He doesn't get the ball for as good as he is. I
totally agree. And I have no problem doing that. Their problem today is the Saints defensive line was getting after their offensive line's ass. It felt like those defensive tackles they were causing a lot of havoc inside, because they were coming right on Jimmy's face. Jimmy was getting peppered.
Yeah.
I thought about halfway through the game, like, God, Jimmy's taking some hits. Is Jimmy going to die? That face Jimmy made when he rolled out and 97 leaped, which you got to call the penalty, but the guy's 350 pounds or whatever in the middle of the air. Like, supposed to fly away. Like, I feel somewhat sympathy for, like, there's nothing he can really do. Do you think he was holding his knee as much as just the power of the helmet hitting his shin? Can you imagine? If you ever bumped in a shin in a wall, can you imagine the pain?
Oh, I mean, maybe both. I think it's part of it. You're probably just scared, right? You just know the force of what just happened could have been really bad, and you're unsure of how bad it is. Yeah,
luckily it connected in the air, right? Not like with his knee in the ground, because his knee's in the ground, it's over.
Yeah, that's a good point. I immediately started thinking about, if you are a big, stretching guy, you immediately thank your trainer for stretching you on a play like that, for maybe making sure that your knee doesn't just snap sideways. Because you start wondering, like, how long till Trey can, especially just for the game. Part of it was just the game. Like, if Brock Purdy has to come into this game, Jimmy threw almost a pick six that got called back because of penalty.
High effort on Jimmy to get over there, though. He sprinted his ass off.
He did, and then there was a penalty, and it was fine. But I do think
a little ticky tack, I'd say.
Yeah,
is the guy that did Chris Harris pick that off? Did he hold and then he dropped out?
He just committed a bunch of stupid penalties today.
Gotcha. He's old.
The late hit on Juwan Jennings,
that was stupid,
and then the hold on Juwan Jennings. So, I thought it was the same Jimmy game. It was fine.
He pick six is the worst passing along. A guy hit a guy in stride.
You're right. You've kind of avoided that play. Now you had the that he got away with. Was that on the goal line?
No, that was in like the middle of the field where Kyle Juszczyk turned into like Laird Hamilton's wife. He flew up there and he hit that spike like he was playing Misty May to win the Olympic gold. He went woof. And even then it still kind of bounced and almost.
Gabby?
Is that whoever Laird's wife is?
I think it's Gabby, right?
Misty and Gabby? Yeah, I don't know.
No, Misty's partner is she went to Tom Brady's high school, Sarah High School.
Again, I don't know what I'm talking about here.
No, you're on point. You're not saying anything wrong. I'm just trying to remember. Gabby Reese, I think, is Laird. And then May, and what's her playing partner's name? From Jay Sarah. Kerry Walsh Jennings. Yep, there we go. See? It was fine. It was the same game. He's gonna. You know what? Because when he threw that pick, I thought, oh, here we go. And then I thought, people throw interceptions. He just hasn't really lately, right?
The one that Juszczyk spiked,
Johnny hasn't thrown a pick since the Chiefs game.
as he's getting hit, he's closing his eyes. The ball goes kind of lower, perfect skip like a golf ball off a rock, and just elevates so high. I mean, the Niners, that was as instinctive of a play by Juszczyk as you're going to see. He saw that thing, and he went with a fucking backward hand to spike that with all his might. He swung so hard, he's lucky he didn't hit his hand on a helmet and break his fingers. Again,
a couple other Garroppolo plays because it feels like he's really comfortable. I'm not saying he was great today or any different today. I'm just saying he looks comfortable trying some stuff. And when Kyle's calling a bunch of, Kyle's letting him do, like, Kyle is acting comfortable with Garroppolo right now.
Well, guy, you can't run you couldn't run the ball.
He's going down and somehow throws the football to Elijah Mitchell near the sideline.
He know that guy was there, or was that a guess?
I think he knew he was there. I do, but that was a risky play. The play I showed the thing at the beginning of the podcast where Jimmy points to Ayuk, like not quite a scramble, just standing. Go deep, Brandon, and then just lollipops it to the sideline out of bounds. That was a hell of a play.
Tom Hanks sign off was throw deep, baby.
Throw deep, baby, which is what Jimmy was calling a shot here.
Yeah.
The third down throw, one of the third down throws over the middle through three guys to Jennings was probably Garoppolo's best throw of the day. That was a really good throw.
I would say the touchdown throw that the Honey Badger got a finger on was still pretty good because it was high enough to, like, he had to leap in midair to even touch it.
Tough throw, yeah.
It was a tough throw. You have to layer it. Like, that's always a nitpick when you're evaluating quarterbacks. Like, that is the ultimate layered throw at different points of the field. Like, that's the thing Mitch Trubisky, like, he's incapable of making. And it's right. Jimmy, I wouldn't call him like Aaron Rodgers or like Patrick Mahomes on it, but he definitely can do it. But he also could have hit Honey Badger in the numbers. But I would say that tended to be a better throw, given that it was high enough where even if he leaped and touched it, it was still going to fall back. He missed on the right side because it would have been easy just to airmail everybody, which I would say he tends to do on that throw. He's more likely, the way he's playing right now, to throw it over everyone to like hit the Honey Badger, right?
Yeah.
But I think he really felt he had him. I would imagine they repped that play, knowing that the size difference of Jennings against the Honey Badgers definitely a mismatch of height. And he gave it a shot. Now, there's obviously an element of luck that it fell right into his stomach, but I wouldn't call that a negative throw.
No, I didn't think it was a bad throw.
So it's a risky throw.
I didn't think it was a bad throw. I agree.
It was a cool play.
I made a note here, almost threw an interception on 3rd and goal on the first possession. I don't remember. I can't picture the play though. Then,
remember Kittle was supposed to like come inside.
Oh yeah.
And then they're talking, and Jimmy's doing some of these, and George is like doing some of these, and
yeah.
He's like, "Well, I thought I was shoulder that way," and it was like, good thing with Jimmy on the short stuff, like once you're at the 5-yard line, the ball's getting out of his hand pretty fast. That a lot of people, he's not throwing like Brett Favre, Josh Allen, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, but he's throwing it hard enough and he's getting rid of it quick enough that everyone's still kind of moving to their spot.
He had a check down to, I think, McCaffrey over the middle today where he was getting sacked and somehow he got the ball out quick over the middle, where his release showed up on that. So, what was the numbers here? 67%, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. You can't complain about that.
Yeah, he's been efficient.
John, again, he hasn't thrown. They've won 4 games in a row. He hasn't thrown an interception in the 4-game winning streak. I'm not going to overly simplify it, but
it feels like he's on pace for about 26-ish, 26-7, and with 66%. Like, that's pretty good.
I don't know. Yeah.
You think 26 is pretty high? Can you get to 10?
I think 26 is high because he's at what I say he's at 15.
How many games? They got 11, so they got 6 more. Does he have 9 more touchdowns in him?
Yeah. What did you think it was designed that he ran the ball on 4th down and goal?
No, what I think is I think on some of those plays, unless it's a design thing like there is a Jennings, probably a quick hitter. Jimmy doesn't see it or is comfortable pulling the trigger, looks, sees a little daylight, and thinks he can get it. And as most average NFL athletes at quarterback realize fast, that hole fucking comes to a close quick, right? I bet when he looks, he's like, I think I get this. And then all of a sudden, one dude sheds, and it's like, there is no daylight. A linebacker takes 3 steps. Like, there's a reason you run a 4.5. Well, you're not that much slower at 4.6. Like, you're covering a lot of ground.
And also, you need to pick up 2 or 3 yards, but you got to run 5 yards to get to the point where you're 3 yards away, right? It's a long way to go.
Yeah. And your momentum's going back, then you go forward. I think he's kind of got it before. I think he got ambitious there. Maybe you saw the Darnold play earlier in the day when he rolled in. He was hoping he could just do like a barrel roll.
Albert says on the stream that Juice slipped on that play, and so Jimmy took off. Check the tape.
I think for the most part, what he's doing probably more consistently than he's done in the past. There were some plays today, like he threw to Juice out of the backfield. It was pretty clear there was a guy right on Juice, but it's like, I'm just going to take the completion. I'm not going to force things. See a guy, go with it. Like, I'm not – he's like a golfer that is just kind of playing shot by shot, but he's not like, I'm going to hit a draw here. I'm going to hit a fade here. I'm going to try to hit it over the tree here. It's like, I'm just going to keep this thing in the fairway, keep it on the green. Like, I'm not – like, I'm just playing this slow and steady. I'm not going to pump 4 balls out of bounds, which I would say in the past – he has been more likely to he just had a day where he hit 7 balls out of bounds.
I think one of the fundamental problems is that he's not going to make a ton of plays out of.
Well, he doesn't ad lib,
right? But he actually does a little. He has been ad libbing a little bit with some success. The touchdown to McCaffrey against the Rams being an example. But I think he's done one thing he does really well. He will hang if he can get protection, he hangs and hangs and hangs and gets rid of the ball quickly.
Not scared.
But one of the main problems is just he's not going to hit 100% of this plays that you scheme wide ass open. He's just going to miss those sometimes. So you have to scheme up. If you want to hit 2 or 3 of them, you got to scheme 4 or 5 of them in a given game, right? And if it's a 1-score game, it's the Super Bowl. It's today's a 1-score game, and you got to hit McCaffrey open down the sideline. He just might. You can't bank on hitting that play.
Does Kyle tell his dad that Mike or Dad,
Coach?
I can't tell anyone this, Coach, but I've kept track and I've schemed 75 plays the last 2 years of running backs out of the backfield on a slow safety or a linebacker
or tight end
that has a guy by 4 fucking steps
or Juice.
That if we just hit 30% of them, we've missed 98% of them.
100%. He has that stat. We have left 17 touchdowns on the field or whatever the number is.
They have. And, every quarterback misses could have missed that wide receiver. These are specific plays to a wheel route, to a delay on a tight end with the guy wide open running straight. Not like Ayuk's open on this play, Jimmy missed him. No, this play was specifically schemed. Even Sanchez they had that one dialed up.
I wonder if they shouldn't practice it during the week. Like, does Jimmy get too amped when he sees it happening? I don't know.
But even if it didn't hit in practice, if you're Kyle, how do you not call it when you know it's going to be open?
Yeah, it's just, again, he lacks the touch on those over-the-top throws. He just does. Even though he can throw it, his ball, he just lacks it. It just
those are beautiful spiral.
Yeah, this is maybe Christian wasn't running as fast today. I don't know.
Well, I think there is, and this is what gets debated a lot going into the draft when you're just talking about these prospects, right? There's the character and the wiring and all that stuff. Clearly, Jimmy has all that stuff going for him, right? The teammate and everyone loves. And then there's just some specific skills as a player. You're going to have to do some specific skills. Jimmy gets rid of the ball quick, right? You got a great release. That's the Niners. Kyle would probably give a toe to have Trey have that release that quick, that smooth. I would say, is he the most natural? I think Derek deals with this too. Touch is not really their thing. Doesn't mean they don't make touch throws. I don't think it comes innately to them. Talk about Caleb Williams. I think it comes Bryce Young. Those two guys, it's these guys have been making touch throws since they were little tiny guys, and their feel playing quarterback. Part of their confidence, and I think Mahomes is this too, as ad-libbers, is because they feel when the ball leaves their hand ad-libbing, it's like the fucking pinpoint accuracy I have on the shot. It's like it's going to, more often than not, it's going to be in the vicinity of where I want it to go. Right? Back to the golf analogy, like Tiger Woods pulled historic shots out of his ass because he knew he could pull it off. I think Jimmy's kind of hesitant to do it because he's not always comfortable. And I think the loopy throw, why Derek throws the looper, why Jimmy misses so many, I just don't think they're that, as crazy as it sounds, they're probably not, and they would never admit this to anyone, maybe to their position coach, but even then, probably not, because you want those plays called. They're not that comfortable making the throw. Doesn't like, and Derek and Jimmy are good examples of like Trubisky cannot do it. Like maybe like 1 out of 10. Like they can do it, but you only get a couple true options in a game, and it's kind of a coin flip. It feels like when they throw it.
Yep.
I really believe that Jimmy should kind of implement a little loopier ball, like the one you said he hit Joelle or Croft on. Just because if you just complete that and he catches, he gets tackled, isn't that way better than the fucking overthrow?
Well, yeah. Yeah. But also, being open on some of these plays, Croft was open, I think, on that play that we were talking about, wide ass open. You loop that one to McCaffrey today, it might not be a catch. It's just beating a guy by 4 yards is wide open in the NFL, but he can recover very quickly if the throw's not good.
And the safety can take, for sure. That's a tougher. You're right. They're different throws, but I do believe when you do throw the loopier pass, I would say pretty consistently in the NFL, there's a collision and that gets a flag comes out.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's true.
Because he stops and the other guy's sprinting and he can't stop.